degree to an Irishman named Patrick Masterson. And Patty wrote a book called The Sense of Creation, Experience, and God Beyond. So I want you to take out a coin. You got one. It's not pretend. Just flip it. So what's that tell you about the existence of God? Head is God, head there's a God, tail there's no God. Well, the first things first. What I'm not going to do today is discuss theology and all the baggage that accompanies theology. I believe that the existence of God is a different matter entirely, since one can believe in God but not belong in any organized religion. So, for our purposes today, what might be a good working definition of God? Well, about 1,000 years ago, Anselm of Canterbury, St. Anselm, the first of the college, it was a college in New Hampshire, said that God is, quote, something greater than which a greater cannot be conceived. Something greater than which a greater cannot be conceived. So there we have it. God is something that than which nothing greater or better can be conceived. A good working definition. It's not overly encumbered with overtones of organized religion. But does God exist? What's the case for God and the case against God? So today, I want to move a little bit and focus on what astrophysics, of all things, contributes to answering this question. So physicists now believe that the universe was formed by way of the Big Bang about 14.5 billion years ago. In an instant, the matter of the universe went from being, as Collins says, an infinitely dense, dimensionless point of pure energy into the beginnings of our universe by way of a massive explosion. The physical matter of the universe at the time was largely hydrogen with some helium. And here it gets interesting, because physical matter was not the only thing in existence. Also, there were in existence 15 laws, or 15 constants of physics. These include the speed of light, the strength of the weak and strong nuclear forces, various parameters associated with electromagnetism, and the force of gravity. As a result of these laws, the universe was able to form. Matter coalesced, began to rotate, it gave the galaxies and the universe its spiral nature. First, as matter began to come together because of gravity, giant red stars were, along with it, fusion. And those stars, those giant furnaces, which only burned for 1 billion or 2 years before they burned out, turned hydrogen into the other naturally occurring elements on the periodic table. As an aside, it means that everything we see, including each other, quite literally made of stardust. As Kurt Vonnegut would say, think about that. Fast forward billions of years, and here we are. And while physicists are coming to conclusions about what happened 14.5 billion years ago, why it happened remains a mystery. And in particular, the laws of physics, the physical constants, are mysterious. Did they exist before the Big Bang? Did they come into being at the instant of the Big Bang? They didn't have to be there. There's no reason those 15 constants exist. And if any one of them didn't exist, we wouldn't. And the universe would. The odds of each of them individually existing are vanishingly small. The odds that all 15 exist, it's as statistically close to impossible as you can get. There's just no way. In other words, the odds of all of this happening by chance, in my view, are about the same as the odds of God existing. hence the flip of the coin. But go back to that coin toss, which is a 50-50 proposition. The fact that one of those constants, gravity, pulls that coin back into your hand. For me, and this is a personal thing, you all have to figure it out on your own, but for me, it tips the scales just a little bit toward the existence of God. Time's up.
For those of you who do not have someplace you need to be immediately, President Finney apparently, well, you said you hang out. So if you don't have to run off, apparently he has a few minutes to chat.
So what do you think?
There's really good phrases in there, and terms and wording is very quotable.
It's the advantage of doing that. I left you stunned into silence.
I like the thought that we're still sort of spinning after that first one.
We are spinning. Actually, about a week ago, the New York Times had a timeline of the universe, and you know, the universe is still young, 14.5 billion years. They had it going out into the future 1 trillion years. When at the end, the black holes eat everything, and then in effect eat themselves, and it goes back to nothing.
So where does
Judgment Day, right?
Where does that leave us in terms of existence?
You know, it depends on your conception of God.
Yeah, just the idea that existence should come to being and now it's going to dissipate and cease sort of works against what you just said.
Maybe. I mean, many of the, at least many of the monotheistic religions leave ashes to ashes, dust to dust. And that it's beyond the physical. Beyond physical.
Don't be shy.
But that's theology.
What about the probability waves? What about like waves of probability in like minute matter? To me personally, it seems a little too random and not sensical.
Well, right. So and actually there's an article in the Times every Tuesday. It's my favorite day in the New York Times because I can still do the Tuesday crossword. They get harder as the week goes on, and it's the Science Times, and the Science Times had a story about this is now getting into string theory, what happened prior to the Big Bang, and all of that. And so there's a probability notion that there are an infinite number of universes, and that you know, it's like the expression: if you put a chimpanzee in front of a typewriter and they type long enough, sooner or later they're going to type one of Shakespeare's plays. And so it's a similar thing. If there are an infinite variety of universes and an infinite variety of physics, sooner or later the right 15 laws would come together and form this universe, whereas other universes would be completely different. That doesn't strike me as actually detracting from anything I said.
But I'm more talking about like, I'm more saying like if you get down to minute small matter, it behaves differently whether people are looking at it or not. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And like to me, so like do you kind of, like to me that kind of makes it more that there wouldn't be this concept of a God kind of if we weren't here. There wouldn't be some sort of organization to it. You know? Like by simply looking at matter, it changes its makeup. So
Yeah, in quantum
quantum
matter.
mechanics.
Right. Right.
So you're
I'm
saying
just wondering, I've been reading this book
God.
lately,
Yeah,
blowing my
yeah,
mind.
and having said that, it also quantum matter functions in a way that it builds, and here we all are.
Yeah,
So,
that's true.
yeah, or not.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.